Well, you know what, Mary? Give me 1 second, okay? There's someone at the door.
Hello, we're going live.
I know, I know.
Okay, come back and see the edited version of this. Stacia Thompson stepped out quickly, unexpectedly, just as I hit the "We Went Live" button.
God. Amazon has to be here. I am so sorry. Oh,
Okay, look at me. Smile.
I
Welcome to Stuck, Time to Improv. I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff, and I want startups to be wildly successful. My guest today is Stacia Thompson, and we're going to be talking about mistakes that tech founders make. So thanks for coming, Stacia.
oh, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about what makes tech founders specifically um, vulnerable to certain mistakes.
Oh my goodness. I can speak to a couple of different situations. One was obviously the dot-com crash where everyone was trying to get in on the next greatest thing and the market was saturated and everything started to blow up because founders and entrepreneurs that were starting all of these fantastic tech startups, after the tech startup got through that initial stage and it started to get into growth stage, they didn't have the experience to come in and really run the business from a situation where it was more informed. They were really good at starting things. They were very visionary, but when it came down to the tactical operational aspects of running a business, they couldn't do it. They, like I said, they didn't have the experience. They weren't bringing in people with experience, and as a result, a lot of those organizations, those companies failed. I'm seeing the same thing now in with the rise of AI. There's a lot of fear in the market. There are a lot of companies out there that think that they can stitch a bunch of it's called Frankensteining, stitch a bunch of AI uh,
Yeah, like
products
agents. Yeah.
into their, well, it's not necessarily agents, it's the products themselves that also then have agents. So they're finding all of these vendors and they're stitching these vendors together thinking, oh, okay, well, now I'm running a beautiful AI business. But the reality is, if those products aren't natively integrated into their core product, it's going to blow up. And we've seen it time and time again. People have really got to be careful with what they're doing with AI now, and it's powerful. We run it, but at the same time, we don't run for the next shiny object and think it's going to work in our ecosystem. So I think that there's a lot of grit, there's a lot of opportunity out there, but founders have got to be careful with the AI. On the opposite side, there are a lot of founders, even in tech, that aren't leveraging AI at all. They have no AI stack. And I and other thought leaders in the space are really worried for these kinds of founders because if you're not using AI right now, and if you're not using it thoughtfully with compliance, with governance, with the ethical use of AI, your business will fall behind your competitor right down the street who's using it, and you don't stand a chance to catch up. That's where industry is going. So it's a combination of any one of those things that I'm seeing and that I'm worried about in terms of founder failure.
And particularly in tech, you need to build in time to beta test. And you need
Definitely.
to have picked specific clients who agree to be your beta testers and
Mhm.
give you the kind of feedback you need to verify how it's working, whether it's working, what it needs now, what it doesn't need now,
Yeah.
and how much people are willing to pay for this.
Yeah. And that is the scary thing. Radiance is a specialist in making those kinds of recommendations. But before beta testing happens with clients, they've got to beta test in internal sandboxes first to make sure that they're viable enough to not embarrass the organization by rolling it out to the client base that's willing to help them build. So
Sure.
there's a whole different kind of customer relationship building that goes along with those kinds of asks of a vendor to their client base. And they've got to make damn sure that they're running a product that makes all kinds of sense and that works.
Okay, so what kind of questions should they ask when they're interviewing someone to do AI for them?
Well, I think the first question is, from my perspective, the first question that we ask is, number one, are you using AI? And then two, what AI products are you using? The agents are always tied to a product. They live inside those products.
Right.
So then they give us that feedback, or they give any consultant from that feedback. Then the next question is, are you using bots? Are you using custom GPTs? Are you using agents? And are those agents capable of doing what you're asking them to do? And you've got to build, and how are you building the prompts? And they'll tell us all of these things, and we're listening for compliance. We're looking for absolutely governance, depending on what the industry is. We're looking for the ethical use of AI, but at the same time, we're also looking for the opportunity that organizations have to truly adopt AI in a very, very healthy way. There are a lot of users out there that, nope, I'm not going to touch it. I was just on a call with an organization that has become one of my partners of sorts, and that he was talking about a situation how he built his company. It's running in 8 figures, and they said, you can use this tool for whatever it is that you need. We need you to get used to it. We need you to use this in a thoughtful way. And here are the guidelines, and here's this. And little by little, the organization, because of the tightening of the communication, because they were watching the logins. Slowly but surely, the naysayers felt, just through peer pressure alone, that they had to start integrating into this AI world. But the problem also is, when you're running and working within an ecosystem of any of the large models, those large models are protected behind firewalls. They're protected behind a lot of different kinds of security, that if you take your work home and now you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to ask Claude, or I'm going to ask ChatGPT X question regarding I'm just going to do it from home, you're going to blow up. You're going to be then sharing private business information with the public learning model if you're not locked down in your personal ecosystem. So it can get really sketchy really fast if organizations don't supply a really, really firm background, and then the why behind that, not just, you can't use ChatGPT at home, or you can't use Claude.
Right.
So yeah,
but it seems like, particularly real early stage, when you're just starting, you've been playing with AI, you think you got an idea for a business. The first big question is, who owns the data?
exactly.
And you gotta verify beyond a shadow of a doubt who owns that data, because otherwise you could be selling something that's not yours.
You're using, and at that point, your data, your information, your prompts, those responses will go out into the training model of any of the large models. I'm thinking of Claude, I'm thinking of Manus, Gemini, OpenAI, and Chat. And you don't want to do that with public information, especially if it's health information. So everything needs to be locked down. And that really is the core of AI compliance. When it becomes something that an organization needs, they first have to build that infrastructure to make sure that they're not leaking their company data, their confidential data, out into the world.
Okay. Other than that, is there some, next worst mistake techs make?
I think everyone needs to be very, very, very thoughtful. There are a lot of shiny objects out there right now, and it's just getting bigger and faster and sexier. And it's really difficult for those of us who are entrepreneurs that have been doing it for a minute. especially coming out of tech. I was 30 years in tech, and I still have that shiny object syndrome because a lot of it's really interesting. It's like, oh, we can do that. Well, no, no. Let's take a look at the tech stack right now. Let's take a look at the AI stack, what we've got, and make sure that maybe that already does what that shiny object is offering. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that's out there that I think is really dangerous for founders to
Yeah.
just rate it in.
So
And
just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just
exactly,
because it's cool doesn't mean people are going to pay for it.
exactly.
And just because you thought of it doesn't mean somebody else didn't think of it first.
Exactly. I
So
was
you
just gonna
need to make your research. You need to check beyond.
Yep,
And it's not as much fun as hunkering down and writing code,
yep.
but it's so necessary to have a successful business.
The other thing is there are a lot of founders out there that don't understand the importance of IP protection and asset protection. Every single thing needs to be locked down in order to protect your business through trademarks, through copywriting, through registration. You've got to do it. You've got to look at the entire thing and figure out what it is that you need to protect. And the first thing usually is a tagline, the company name, and the logos. It not well, the logos, but the company name that is behind the brand. You've
Right.
got to do it. I've got 29 trademarks for Radiance. And
Okay. Well, this has been fascinating. It's
I'm
excellent information. Any tech founder needs to pay attention to this stuff. Thanks again, Stacia Thompson.
you're
And
welcome.
we'll put links in the comments for people to contact you and follow up later.
That would
And
be amazing.
I'm Mary Scott with Business Roof. I want startups to be wildly successful. And one of the best things you can do to accomplish that is book a call with me at businessroof.com. And join us again next time for Stuck. Time to improv.